All right, once again, morning everybody. Let's hop into 10 trending crypto news articles that are out there right now. As always, all links to the articles discussed be down there in the description. And man, I don't know about all of you, but that market, right? Yeah, pretty happy about it. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But let's start in with things talking about VeChain. First up, oh yeah, so in a new episode of the Bootcamp webinar series, VeChain's chief scientist, Peter Zhao, discussed the highlights of VeChain Thor's blockchain governance model. Its governance model is especially aimed at businesses, their uses, and creating value for its users, according to Zhao. VeChain's governance model follows the elected board design. So he also explained that this model consists of 3 bodies or components. So yeah, we're getting a little peek, not behind the curtain, but for those of you who follow VeChain but not closely, this will be a little bit of an educational thing for you. The steering committee board, the economic node, and the X node operators. In that sense, Zhao explained that the first component, the steering committee, is in charge of managing daily operations, proposing and voting on critical changes like the price of gas, and then board members on the steering committee can decide whether a proposal is submitted to a shareholder vote. So they have quite a bit of power, and I think his argument is they provide direction for the community. Instead of it just being a straight up free-for-all, there's elected positions, and they kind of, based on their knowledge and whatnot of the VeChain space, can kind of push the network one way or another. So on the blockchain, however, the majority of the voting rights are held by the nodes. The new governance introduced in December of last year gives the majority of votes and authority back to the community by giving economic node and X node operators a voting right that can account for up to 60% of the votes, while the remaining 40% are held by the owners of the authority master nodes, with the individual voting power varying in relation to the number of tokens a user has and the time they've kept them. So yeah, they kind of split it up. It looks like they have economic nodes and economic nodes X. Ooh. Economic nodes get 20% of the vote. It looks like they require fairly small amounts of VeChain Thor. Economic X nodes have a little bit more voting power coming in, and then the authority master nodes, their know your customer requirements are required, and you need to hold at least 25 million VET to get it. So to get yourself on that authority master nodes board is quite a bit. By contrast, the smallest economic X node is 600K, and the smallest regular econ node is just 1 million. So kind of interesting. He actually makes the argument in this webinar that VeChain's model is better than Bitcoin and Ethereum, which I'm not sure if I agree, but yeah, let's see what he's got to say. So Bitcoin's governance model makes its decisions through proposals that are approved by the core developers. Then they're put to a vote on chain, and the miners decide. If the proposal is implemented, this occurs through a soft or hard fork. However, as stated by VeChain Zhao, proposed changes are not implemented because of a lack of consensus with the core developer community. Forks and things like that are how we got Bitcoin Cash, and how Bitcoin Cash became that, and Bitcoin SV, which was quite the controversy at the time. And Zhao also criticized the lack of transparency regarding the Ethereum governance model and the way decisions are made. He called it very plutocratic, and the lack of a mechanism for community participation in this decision making. Yeah, so I don't know how I feel about his argument about VeChain being objectively better than Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think all 3 protocols have interesting benefits and drawbacks. Ethereum is a little plutocratic right now, but I think once they transition over to proof of stake, they'll be able to implement some better governance models. And honestly, they might steal some from Cardano. Just saying, Cardano's got some pretty good governance ideas, in my opinion. Bitcoin, yeah, it's got a rudimentary decision system, but it was the first. and Bitcoin is what it is. So VeChain, he's saying it gives it more flexibility to deal with business needs, which in turn helps create more value for shareholders or token holders like us. And I gotta admit that that makes sense. Like, it's a good argument. I dislike it when he's like, well, we're just better. Well, yes and no. Personally, I don't particularly care for the fact that you have a steering committee that can force things one way or another. I mean, talk about plutocratic, am I right? But I'm just saying. That's my opinion on things. Either way, it was definitely an interesting read, and I hope it gave you a little bit more insight into how VeChain's on-chain governing goes and kind of how development is being pushed. They're having great success this year. So the steering committee is doing a good job. My worry with things like that, when there is a upper echelon, like small group that kind of can steer things one way or another, they're not good forever. And that's my worry. I'm not saying short term, I'm not saying even mid-term or long term, I'm just saying eventually 15, 20, 30, 40 years down the road, you'll have 3 board members who are multi-billionaires and fly around on private jets and vote in between, I don't know, pool time, and don't really actually pay attention to the market or the network. So that's the only thing that would worry me with this. But honestly, I really do like their model overall. And then I'm interested to see how Ethereum's will evolve and if Bitcoin's will. That's going to be something to watch out for. All right, but hey, that's number 1. Hopping into number 2. So Stellar Lumens-based DSTOQ exchange announces it's being launched in more than 100 countries after receiving $715,000 in financing from the Stellar Development Fund. It's made in February. So DSTOQ has built a digital interface without borders to facilitate access to blue chip stocks like Tesla, Amazon, or Apple, bonds, ETFs, commodities, and among other traditional financial market products. These assets will be available as stock tokens built on the Stellar network and can be used with cryptocurrencies or fiat money. So this is actually pretty cool. It's going to give a lot of people in a lot of countries better access to financial markets. And that is always a good thing, especially in times like this. So according to the announcement, DSTOQ only requires users to have a smartphone to download the app, and the exchange is available in countries around the world like Peru, Qatar, Russia, South Africa, Vietnam, among others. However, it's not yet available for the US or some of the countries with the largest economies in Europe, which makes sense to me. US has got some odd, to say the least, regulations. So they might not have launched it there just because they're working out the details. It's not a bad idea. It gives people better access, and that's always a good thing. So over here at old SDF, CEO Donnell Dixon stated the following. At SDF, we seek to unlock the world's economic potential by making money more fluid, markets more open, and people more empowered. DSTOQ's sharp focus on cross-border investing and their unique approach to helping people in emerging markets to gain access to investment opportunities abroad speaks directly to our mission. I agree. Stellar's got some moves to it. Honestly, I personally thought this was a dead coin about 6 or 7 months ago. I didn't really see anything in it. But with the Stellar Development Fund, they are Stellar Development Foundation. They're definitely investing in some interesting products. We're seeing a lot more launches right now, which is really cool. People are, unveiling all these interesting things and throwing them out there. DSTOQ, I think, honestly, will be something to watch just because of the amount of countries they're going to be able to launch in and what they can offer. I don't know of a lot of other products that are offering, access to blue chip stocks in the way that they are. Bonds, ETFs, commodities. How much it will get used in some of these smaller, quote-unquote, third world countries, I'm not sure. But it's definitely something to keep an eye on. I expect DSTOQ may start increasing what they offer as well. So we'll keep an eye on her for now. But I like it. Alrighty, jumping over to number 3, Elrond. Elrond just added got added onto Crypto.com. So yeah, it's gained quite the boost to its mainnet launch. Crypto.com's added ERD to its platform, enabling its native token to be bought, sold, and swapped for other assets. It's quite the coup for them. Crypto.com's got over 3 million users. I am one of them. Shoppers have been attracted to its virtual and physical debit card service on account and the generous cashback it offers, up to 5% awarded in crypto, of course, and the range of digital assets it supports. It's quite impressive. I quite like it. I'm personally not a fan of spending my crypto, so once we get a true credit card and not just a debit card, that will be nice. But that's just my opinion. Elrond CEO Benjamin Minsu described the listing on ERD on Crypto.com as a great win, noting that the platform is the fiat gateway of choice for both new and veteran crypto users, which he's right. I mean, Crypto.com is booming, and it's doing very well. I see people posting every now and then about it being a scam or something like that, and I personally don't agree. They've gotten pretty established at this point. They need to continue to develop and push the envelope, make sure they have the appropriate insurance on all their accounts and things like that, but I think they're definitely going to be a contender in this space for some time to come. In my opinion, don't trust anything I say. Do your own research. And also, 2 days prior to this Crypto.com listing, ERD did it with Swipe, making the token purchasable through services like Google Pay and Apple Pay that integrate with the Binance-owned payment gateway. So yeah, Elrond's got some moves to it. We've talked about it on the channel before. It's an interesting project. I'm keeping an eye on it, quite honestly. Do not have anything invested in it at this time. Don't know if I will, but it's definitely something I'm going to watch, at the very least. Alrighty, well that does it for ERD. Let's hop over and talk about Ethereum. Oh yeah, they formalized the launch date for the first full testnet designed to simulate mainnet conditions called Medallia. The new multi-client testnet is set to be the last one before the mainnet launch, which we all know they're looking at August the 4th. Oh yeah, so there are two conditions they must meet for this launch to happen. The first is what they're calling the minimum genesis time. It's a manually set parameter that defines the earliest the testnet can be launched. The second condition involves the number of validators who signed up for the testnet. Medallia will only start if at least 16,384 deposits for 32 Ethereum have been committed 48 hours before the minimum genesis time. If it fails, the launch will be 48 hours after that milestone is reached. So as long as everyone gets on board in a timely fashion, which I expect they will, getting this kicked off so we can actually launch phase 0 in 2020 is a high priority for large Ethereum holders, which I would define as anyone who's got 32 or more. That's like $7,000-$8,000, might be close to 10 with the recent pump they've had. Ethereum's up like 12% after this news, as well as just a general DeFi boom that is currently going on. So the Medallia testnet is expected to be maintained by the community, unlike previous iterations that were referred to as devnets. In addition to this testnet, the foundation is also sponsoring separate attack nets for white hat hackers to break. Ooh, yeah. And they're working on phase 1 currently, setting up the beacon chain for 2.0, be the main coordinator for the various shards once we implement sharding. Users will be able to stake their Ethereum through a deposit contract on Ethereum 1.0, but they will not be able to transact with Ethereum 2.0 tokens, nor will they be able to get them back until phase 1 launches. So that is... But the ETH 2 and 1.0 clients will be hybridized such that the former would manage the consensus and block validation, while the latter would pass all information on blocks and transactions. In essence, Ethereum 1.0 would essentially be one of the many shards of 2.0. So that's interesting. I'm pretty happy with this. I've been pretty depressed on Ethereum recently, as the regulars on this channel might know. There needs to be progress. Honestly, we should have seen these testnets dropping, in my opinion, a year ago at the earliest, but beggars can't be choosers. finally seeing some movement, finally seeing some progress. Ethereum has to make these moves so that way they continue to be the leader in the crypto space. If they're ever going to truly flip in Bitcoin, they got to do it. They got to do these things. So we'll keep an eye on it. And that's all I can say for now. I'm sure they're feeling a lot of pressure behind the scenes to get this done. Alrighty. Visa. Oh yeah, we talked about MasterCard last week. Let's hop over and talk about Visa. So they're revealing a roadmap to support Bitcoin and crypto. They've actually been doing pretty well. Most debit cards are Visa debit cards right now. MasterCard's only just starting to really get into the game. But yeah, they're laying out their plan to support Bitcoin and the crypto space at large. In this new blog post, the payments giant says it recognizes the role of digital assets in the future of money. Concept of digital currency, or a digital version of cash controlled by a private key, was created more than a decade ago with the launch of Bitcoin. Today, fiat-backed currencies, commonly referred to as stablecoins, have emerged as a promising new payment innovation, combining the benefits of digital currencies with the stability of existing currencies like the US dollar. The company says that it plans to extend its services to digital currency wallets through its Fast Track program, allowing fintechs to integrate with Visa's global network of 61 million merchants. They believe that digital currencies have the potential to extend the value of digital payments to a greater number of people and places. As such, we want to help shape and support the role they play in the future of money. We look forward to sharing more with you on this work in the months that follow. Good on them. Visa says it's working with policy leaders and regulators to ensure that the company's digital currency strategy reflects its values and strong stance on security, privacy, integrity, and trust. Which, hey, good for them. And we're kind of waiting on PayPal to make their announcement. So, what's the phrase? Giants are in the playground. They are. We are getting to the point that the big boys are really, really starting to integrate in the crypto space. And I am still flabbergasted, shocked that there is not more movement in the crypto space. Like, there's no explosion, there's no crazy, there's coins that are doing it, but the market itself, yesterday was like the first time I went like, okay, this makes sense. Like, we're getting adoption, we're getting movement, we're getting development. Like, more. Like, where's more? I think that might have to do with just the muted tone that this year has taken for us. Things are very uncertain right now. I don't know about you guys, but for me personally, wife lost her job, and we're looking at the unemployment benefits in the U.S. and being like, hey, can you guys continue that 600, or at the very least do something extra? Like, we won't be destitute, but I could really use, a little bit more to keep ourselves stable while she looks for work, which she's pregnant right now, so maybe we won't look for work too hard just yet, and then once the baby's born and grandparents can take care of it and we don't have to worry about COVID so much, she can re-enter the workforce. If she can find another work from home gig, great. But yeah. All right, but hey, I'm digressing too much. That was it for the first 5. So let's go and hop into number 6. All right, so let's hop over, talk about this token sale boom. So recent months have seen a surge of fresh money entering the crypto markets from oversubscribed token sales. Like the recent AvaX launch, which we talked about yesterday, I believe, to 100% plus price gains for tokens like Cardano, Link, and VeChain. But does this herald the beginning of a new bull market or just another bubble waiting to burst? A little bit of both, according to Simon Dedek, co-founder of crypto research house BlockFire. I'll give him a little credence on this one. He's got a co-founder. Yeah. Okay, so a whole host of new projects are popping up, with token sales selling out in hours, especially in the DeFi arena. Established projects, or the strongest of them at least, are seeing triple-digit increases to their token values. And he agrees that the latest DeFi craze is reminiscent of the Icomania in 2017, and feels like it is likely to play out in a similar way. He's quoted as saying, "It's a narrative. Many interesting concepts arise. that might change the financial sector. However, many useless cash grabs will as well. The strongest projects will survive, and DSTOQ sees the current money pouring into Chainlink and VeChain as vindication of this, which is fair. Both have been around for a number of years, and they've had some significant ups and downs, but they're really starting to come into their own. Chainlink's being integrated into a host of different things. VeChain's supply chain security and management is being integrated into so many different companies. It's actually impressive for both. So that makes sense. With fresh money coming into the market, DSTOQ believes we will see another strong bull market, and that is already started, if slowly. For now, the majority of the money is educated and careful due to the recent bear market, but people have started to throw it around less carefully. What follows will be a big retail FOMO wave that will pump the entire market. Oh boy, fingers crossed. Here's hoping that we can all cash out some profit. My goal, as always, is never to make so much that I can retire. But gosh, I'd just like to have enough that I can buy a house in cash, so the wife and I don't have to worry. It's financial security, financial freedom. Own your own property, straight and outright. Pay some property taxes. That's it. You can do that. But yeah, no, we are definitely, I think, on the verge of something. The bull market has begun. Money is starting to pour into these different crypto markets, and I'm very interested to see where things will continue to go. So, but hey, good on him. So let's hop over here. Kind of a little fun story for you guys. So this white hat hacker got $7,500 back worth of stolen Ethereum, as well as some decanter, totaling a total of $16K. Oh yeah, the white hat hacker broke into the scammer's database and intercepted the funds. And tracing the crypto back to Binance, they returned the crypto to its owner. Oh, so yeah, it was a pretty sophisticated crypto phishing scam. So it was Harry Denley, director of security at blockchain analytics firm MyCrypto. He stumbled across this particularly sophisticated variant. The method lulls the victim in with a phony user interface that imitates popular decentralized finance DeFi protocols. Once hooked, the scam prompts victims into revealing a host of information they shouldn't, including private keys, a secret alphanumeric password that provides access to stashed crypto funds, and then the bogus UI will then direct you on to the actual protocol in an attempt to, get rid of suspicion. But favorably for Denley, the scammer's database security was lax, so he actually was able to receive the phish details and eventually recover the funds. He then reached out to Binance, confirmed the victim, and gave them their money back. So that poor guy got so lucky, it's insane. Like, not gonna lie, he got really, and I mean really lucky. So I'm happy for him. Like, good on you. I'm glad you got it back, but he put himself into that situation. So yeah, but we'll see. This is not too bad. We need more white hat hackers. They're not going to save us all, but maybe they'll save some of us. All right, moving on. Russia just passed this really weird Bitcoin payments law. It's kind of unsettling to me. So yeah, they approved this digital financial assets bill on the 22nd. It had already won backing from senior lawmakers. The new law recognizes digital assets as an aggregate of electronic data capable of being accepted as the payment means, but cannot be used at the same time to pay for any goods and service. So you can accept it, but you can't use it. Russians retain the legal right to buy and hold Bitcoin and other crypto assets as an investment. But there's a catch. Possession of digital currency, its acquisition and transfer by legal means are allowed only if declared. Now, I mean, that's typical. You have to declare everything in America anyway, so nothing too crazy there. The central bank will have the right to determine the features of digital assets accessible to qualified investors only. So my big problem with this is you cannot spend it. So you can acquire in it, you can invest in it, kind of like a stock or whatever, but you cannot spend it, which unsettles me a little bit. Not the biggest fan of that, quite honestly. But it is a pretty decent bit of control by the Russian government, and God, do they love their control. I'm really on the fence with this. If you guys want to give me your opinion down in the comments, great. Um, it provides clarity, which I like, but it limits its usability, which I don't like. So essentially, it's like flipping a coin and it coming up on its side. So one step forward, one step back. Russia's kind of in the same place as before. They have clarity, but not usability. All right, launching over here, ESPN, a Disney subsidiary, so just pointing that out there as well. ESPN Global has recently developed an online gaming platform with blockchain tech. The esports programming network gaming environment will allow users to compete with each other in a variety of game battles and tournaments, and they'll be able to win money. According to a news report, the upcoming platform will give users the chance to get a premium membership, which will allow them to play slots, plus early access to the latest and most anticipated online games. This new gaming environment is in a pre-launch phase. When finally active, it will allow players to make deposits and withdrawals using Bitcoin, plus a number of other cryptos. The report also reads that ESPN Global has been using platform CryptoPay to make the whole platform system more secure, fast, and simplified. Adoption, people! More adoption, more integration. This is what we want, and this is why we're going to have a bull market. Sorry. I'm very excited about this. ESPN is a big name, and like I said, Disney is their parent company, if I'm remembering correctly. So we're going to see the Mouse House. Let me buy some tickets with Bitcoin. Go see Disney once all this corona is over. It's a start. It's a step. And each step has taken us way farther than I could have ever imagined. But definitely hoped. I really do think we're going to see quite the jump in the next year or two. The intensity of this jump will be determined by the fallout from the coronavirus. They'll kind of depress the markets, but there's just so much going on. Prices are going up. And then we're going to round things off with this fun little Carlos Ghosn look. So, U.S. prosecutors, for those of you who don't know, he's the son of the former Renault and Nissan head. Fugitive Carlos Ghosn. He used Coinbase to pay two men $600,000 in Bitcoin to get his father out of Japan. Yeah. So, U.S. prosecutors said Wednesday that Anthony Ghosn sent 63 Bitcoin to Mike and Pete Taylor, a father and son team who smuggled him out of Japan on December the 30th, 2019. Coinbase gave the evidence to Japanese investigators this week, showing a series of transactions between January and May from Ghosn's Coinbase account to one belonging to Pete Taylor. Ghosn transferred what was then worth $500K of Bitcoin to Taylor in 7 transactions, which would now be worth $608K. Michael Taylor is a former Green Beret, and Peter Taylor are currently being held by the U.S. authorities on the request of Japan, which is trying to extradite them. Prosecutors filed the evidence in opposition to the Taylors' bid to be released on bail. They're like, you'll disappear. So, pleading innocent, Ghosn was held under house arrest for more than a year until his escape. In December, getting into the movie stuff, he was smuggled out of the country in a double bass case by the Taylors, who pretended to be a band playing at a dinner party. Like, seriously, they just stole the plot of a movie. Ghosn is now hiding out in his childhood home of Lebanon, having accused the rigged Japanese system of denying his basic human rights. Yeah, that's this straight up movie plot right there. Only in this one, Ghosn's the hero and Japanese justice system is rigged. However, in real life, he'd probably corrupt as all get out. So, what do you know? But, alright, so that does it for the 10 trending crypto news articles of the day. If you made it this far, subscribe. I mean, why not? I do appreciate all those of you who have done it. It makes me feel pretty good about where things are going. As always, constructive criticism in the comments is allowed. Don't just say I suck. But yeah, hopping into things. Bitcoin's pretty flat, but it's over 9,500, so I'll take it. Let it consolidate for a day or two. Ethereum's trending up 3.63%, just over $274. The rest of the top 10 are pretty meh. Everything's down by 1% or 2. No particular crazy standouts to be really bad right now. Moving on to the top 20. Yeah, not a lot of movement. We got that big pump, and now everything's kind of like retreating a little bit. So, for now, I'll take it. Alright, so that'll do it for today. I will talk to you all tomorrow, and thanks as always for participating and hanging out. Love ya, mean it. Peace.